Welcome.
Everyone but me.
Welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, the vaccinated and naturally raised indeed. You're listening to the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live from the fabulously fluoridated capital of Auckland, New Zealand, the island-chained nation in the sunny slave South Pacific, fluoridated and Fukushima irradiated, and everybody has a part-time job as an incandescent light bulb on behalf of the Prime Minister John Key, the Federal Reserve Banker, to help the economy. My very special guest today, guests plural, Katherine Buckalew and her co-host Rand Porter. Katherine, welcome to the program.
Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Well, generally fabulous.
Of course you are.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. That opening song is so you. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's a New Zealand band called Clap Clap Riot, and originally I thought it might have been about venereal diseases or something, but apparently not.
I can see where you think that.
Yeah. and I hope nobody else thinks what I'm thinking at this moment too, because this is a family show. And also, Rand, welcome to the program too.
Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
Yeah, same response. Somewhat fabulous.
Clean and clear, right?
Yeah. Well, I just got myself my new Facebook profile picture. You know the Obama picture during the 2008 election, how they had him done in the white and the red and the blue kind of shadowed type thing?
Sure.
And he had the little O with the little American flag on it kind of thing, Obama. Well, I've got one of me, and it says, it's got Vinnie Eastwood there, right, and it says expose scumbaggery, and the little O is the same as the Obama O. I was thinking,
I can dig it.
Oh yeah.
I can dig it.
I'll send you the image. The whole idea is basically you got to make fun of the New World Order at every turn. And also, more to the point, we're all part of the New World Order now, whether we like it or not. So it means we also have to make fun of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm here, Vinny. My girlfriend, Liza, thought that we'd have fun for a couple hours, bring some truth, and have some fun doing it.
Mm-hmm, indeed. Well, why don't you tell us then a little bit about, Katherine, you first, who you are and what it is you do.
Well, actually, I'm just a regular person with a passion for the truth, honestly. A person who synchronistic life situations have brought me to where I am right now, actually. Just a kid who grew up in Arden, Delaware. It's a musician, artist, beatnik kind of community where the kids ran free and they were free to be who they were and didn't have to check in with their parents, and they still were safe. And that's what I think that we need to go back to now, because it was a cool way to grow up in the 70s. Actually, I grew up in the exact same house that Biden did when he was younger, Joe Biden, on Harvey Road. And I met him a few times. He actually saved my aunt when a purse snatcher stole her purse back in the day. He ran after the guy and got her purse back. He knew my father. He sent us Christmas cards and a condolence card when my father passed away.
It's too bad he doesn't run out of after the Federal Reserve bankers that steal everybody's purse.
Yes, that was my next thing. He needs to come correct and stop, allowing himself to be handled. Because, at one time he was a good guy who cared about the bigger picture. And it's really sad that he lost his nerve. And I wrote him, tried to remind him of that, and haven't heard a peep. But I'm not really surprised about that either. I hope he does. And also, I was thinking to myself, I'm not used to speaking about myself any, so bear with me. My story to me is not that exciting, but I was trying to think about how it was that I came to be here and what events led me up to this. And it started at a very young age when I was born a person. I was not born a person who you would think would be a person who'd be publicly speaking today. I used to stutter as a child, had speech therapy once a week in school for a few years. It showed me a lot of things. It showed me empathy, how to stick up for myself, and that I'm very grateful for that to this day, because it showed me a lot of important lessons early on in life. One being, empathy for other people. When I was younger, I came home, and it may sound cold, but I came home to my father and said, "So and so is picking on me for stuttering, Dad." And my father said, "Don't come crying to me about it. Go do something about it." So that's what I did. I was very nervous and timid, but kids on the school bus making fun. "I'll meet you on the playground after school. Let's duke this out." And that's basically what happened. I had no choice but to stick up for myself. And I did. And I was the underdog. And as soon as that punch got heard around the neighborhood, because it connected pretty darn good, Vinny, all the kids that weren't on my side ran over to my side. And it made me feel very triumphant as a person, but it also made me very sad at how much sheep people were, how they just wanted to be on the winning team. So I learned lessons very early in life that I did not like bullies. By the same token, I'm very grateful because it showed me to be empathic and not to take anybody for granted and make fun of other people. And it just snowballed from there. I mean, I was involved in student government very early and civic activities very early in life. I spoke at the Dover House of Representatives in Dover, Delaware. That's where the representatives for the state meet at the age of 16, about the importance of extracurricular activities and how important funding was. I was the Delaware DECA state president of every high school in the state of Delaware and represented us at national conferences and gave speeches. On from there, I was class president a couple years, student council vice president, most popular, most talented, believe it or not, but I wasn't the typical cheerleader who got most popular because I was nice to everybody. That's why I got most popular, not the stereotypical most popular chick, and I'm grateful for that as well. Learn to speak up for what's right very early in life, and my daughter came home, just to try to wrap it up a little bit. My daughter came home from school one time, and when she was grade 2 or something, and said the kids at school were saying that it was the end of the world, and I was worried. I wanted to give her answers. I wanted to be able to give her answers. So I did what any other normal person would do. I went to YouTube University and started reading about everything, and became engrossed with everything, and on like a truth crusade, if you will. Came across a video by I think it was Project Camelot, and it was with Duncan O'Finioan and Dave Corso about MK Ultra, and I was just floored to hear what they do to children and people to this day, and it broke my heart, and it gave me the extra push, if you will, to come into the truth arena and be where I am today, because I want answers. I want to be able to give people answers, and it's very important to me. It's very important for us too, as Truth Connections, to uncover the truth as best as we can. We certainly don't take it lightly, Vinny. I'm starting to stutter a little bit because I'm a little nervous, so you have to forgive me. It comes out that way sometimes.
Well, I think, Katherine, because you've been empathetic with so many other people your whole life, that you've lost that part of you that is supposed to be a little bit shameless and just more forthcoming on batting up for yourself kind of thing, and you're trying to sort of accommodate others, rather than just try and be yourself and have a good time and stuff like that. So this, just remember, there's no bar that you have to set here. There's no expectation of you. And we're just, basically, I'd like you to consider this, that you're on holiday on a tropical island in the sun, cocktail in your hand, and we're sitting on a beach having a conversation about whatever we feel like.
That sounds cool with me.
Do you feel better?
Yes, absolutely. But I do. I feel really responsible for the message and the information that gets out to the public. And we don't take it lightly because we know it's important, and we want to make sure we do a good job and be humble and be discerning about the information that we do bring to the public. It's very important.
Okay, well, now we know who you are, Katherine, and actually I've just become a lot more familiar with you in the last few minutes, to tell you the truth. Now, Rand, what about you? What did you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Well, I actually was born and raised till the age of 5 in a haunted house in Connecticut. So I kind of knew from a very early age that there was a lot of things in the world that weren't quite black and white, that weren't being defined by the status quo. So kind of gave me a different perspective than most. And then from the age of 5, I moved to Woodstock, New York, land of the hippies. So a whole new perspective yet. And then so that put me close to New York City. So I was actually supposed to be in New York City on 9/11. So that's actually a topic that's kind of something that's kind of dear to me. I really did a lot of research on that and try to understand what really happened that day. And I had friends who had family and relatives who were in the towers that day. So it kind of hit close to home. And it also started me on my journey of trying to understand what's behind the curtain of Oz. So I started independently researching and studying pyramid power. I mean, I started out with 9/11, but when I realized that there was so much out there, I started studying pyramid power and then Tesla, and then tachyon energy, scalar energy, ethereal energies. I really became a proponent of free energy. And then I found Facebook. And lo and behold, there was this whole amazing media to find all these other people who found information and questioned information, and we could talk amongst ourselves and figure out what's really going on, where we've been lied to, and where the truth lies. So I really dove in head first, right down the rabbit hole, the Stargate, or whatever we call it these days. And of course, that eventually led me to meet Katherine through a Truth and Awareness page that I admin, that she was actually admin as well. So we worked on that together. And then Kathy and Towar, Natava Dad, decided to start the Truth Connections radio show, and I was asked to join that, and honored to be able to join it because the people I've met since then have just been amazing. My knowledge base has just grown exponentially because of all the amazing guests we've had, and just a floodgate of knowledge that's opened up since then. It's been quite a journey indeed. I'm a Reiki master, Qigong healer, and forms instructor. Do healing. So I also see it from the spiritual energetic side. I think everybody needs to own their own energy, and when we do, I think the world's going to really be a different place. So I'm really big on that, as well as recognizing our energies and coming together as a group and combining those energies, because I think the powers that be, that's their biggest fear. We figure out how much power we really have as individuals, but together as a group. And when we start uniting by sharing information and understanding what's been wrong and how to make it right, things are going to really start to change. And your show and our show are, they're definitely huge cogs in that wheel of creating change.
Now, Truth.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Basically, this show, as I mentioned before, is just a place for people like yourselves who are radio show hosts, politicians, business people, anybody like that who understands what the New World Order is and is taking steps to stop it in its tracks, kind of thing. I like to offer, this place is a little bit of a holiday, if you will, from the harsh reality of it. Which is why there's a lot of humour on the show, although that's not the main composite of it. Usually it's the drastically terrifying information that we're exposed to with a little bit of comic relief so that you know what's going on, but you don't fear what's going on.
Absolutely, Vinny. I'm totally with you on that. You have to have some humor in it, or it will just make you batty.
Yeah, you got to lighten it up. If it's too dry, people are gonna, they can't consume it. You gotta make it a little bit funny.
Well, go ahead, Vinny.
It also occurs to me, if you wanted to find comedy in the truth movement on a radio show, can you name me anywhere else you can go except the Vinny Eastwood Show?
Of course not, Vinny. You're the most fabulous one of all.
You got a corner on the market.
No, I see, and I don't know. Maybe my brain's wired differently to people. I'm just permanently on the sunny side.
Absolutely. If you look up "fabulous" in the dictionary, there's a picture of Vinny Eastwood right there.
Yeah, I wish you could actually look up "scumbaggery" in the dictionary and see a picture of Vinny Eastwood there.
No, you don't.
Too much.
Yeah. But,
I have to keep muting because it makes me laugh.
yeah.
Laughing's good.
It is. It releases the what is it? It's an endorphin production thing. And what I've noticed is that smiling, happiness, a nice tone in your voice, or a laugh, or a joke, or something of that nature, although it doesn't require you any necessarily energy or power to give somebody a smile. You actually lose less muscles in your mouth than when you frown, incidentally. But not only that, but it's an infectious thing. You know, that's how people can get infected with a cackle that will spread through everything like an engineered virus. And sure enough, it turns out that being happy reduces your stress. And if you're really stressed, it means you get cancer and stuff like that. So this is the show that the Cancer Society should sponsor. Huh? Have a few cackles. Stop getting cancer. We'll be right back after the break at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.
If you take an active interest in maintaining the optimum health and well-being of yourself and your family, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is the magazine you've been waiting for. Having taken Australia and New Zealand by storm, the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine is now available in the UK and Europe. Visit www.nznaturalmed.co.uk or call 01626 337 531 to order your copy now.
Do you realise every day we are being put under constant stress from wireless radiation? What's worse is that you don't even know that it's happening. It puts as much stress on our body as if we had a constant viral infection, draining our energy and sapping our strength, or just making us irritable and fatigued. These wireless fields are being emitted from computers, microwaves, mobile phones, power lines, and any electrical appliance. Now there is a solution. A group of research engineers in New Zealand have come up with an active shielding device that shields you from wireless radiation at a cellular level. Blue Shield comes in 3 models, a household, portable, and USB that plugs into any computer. The great thing about Blue Shield is it is very affordable and guaranteed to last. A one-off purchase will see you being protected for years to come. Visit AmericanFreedomRadio.com and click on the Blue Shield banner. Blue Shield, brought to you by thevinnieeastwoodshow.com.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that the Vinnie Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinnie is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinnie supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnieeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Booking it down. It is Schwarzenegger sense of the word. On AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Welcome back also to my very special guests, Katherine Buckalew and Ran Porter, host and co-host of Truth Connections. And if you go and search up on your Facebook, you will be able to search for Truth Connections, and they have a little Facebook group in there that is actually quite active. And having a Facebook group that actually remains active and doesn't just kind of disappear into one person's long list of Facebook groups that they belong to and never look at is actually quite a challenge. So guys, welcome back. And Katherine, you wanted to expand a little bit more on your background as well during this segment.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say, to anyone, please feel free to join our Facebook page called Truth Connections. We don't mass add people there. Everyone who's been there who is there has come on their own free will, and I think that's what makes the difference, Vinny. We don't allow people just to add everybody on their friends list, because that makes for trolls, and it makes for people who don't want to communicate with other people. And we want everybody who's there to want to be there. So if you really want to know the truth, we have a lot of great posts there. There's a lot of stuff to learn. A lot of people who have been on our shows also post there for their updates and whatnot. So please feel free to join. Also, our truthconnections.wordpress.com website is available for anyone who would like to check it. Our upcoming guest schedule, our past guest schedule, the archives, any book that has ever been written by one of our guests is there with a link to purchase it. Some of the stuff's free, some of it's not. But we do that for our guests, so the information is always there, tagged to our site. So if you watch a show a year from now, you can go to that information and find their books if you're interested. Also, we have just added, Tamara actually has just added, she does a great job with the website, by the way. We love Tamara. She's the best. She completes us, as a professional. I'll get into that a little bit later. But she just added a documentary watching website that has a lot of truther documentaries, a vast cornucopia of information and knowledge. But Tamara and Rand and myself, I really want to say that I feel like this has come together in such a divinely guided sort of way, and not sounding hokey about it or anything, but we really do complete each other, Rand and I have a great dynamic live. Tamara, does all the stuff that makes us look good and sound good in the background, and we all just do it without even having to communicate a lot about it. It just seems to work, and we're very grateful that we resonate with so many people, because we've only been doing this since January, Vinny, and I'm Project Camelot. We are not, and we're not trying to be Project Camelot, but we got about 100,000 hits from all of our various websites so far, and we're very grateful for that, and we're very grateful for the insanely outrageous. I'm amazed still when I look at our guest list and the upcoming guest list. I'm very honored that they trust us with our truth, and I totally believe that if you do the right thing, the right people will resonate with you, and good things will happen. We're very grateful that so many people trust us. So many big name people that most radio show guests would dream to talk to trust us with their truth. So I want to set a shout out to them for gracing us with their presence and helping everyone with what the truth really is. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to, we have about 10 admins on our page who help out behind the scenes as well, and with welcoming new members. And there's not a page on the website, I can say this, I don't like being cocky, but there's not one page on Facebook's Facebook's group pages that gets welcomed by so many people. I have personally welcomed almost 600 people on that page by myself, with a welcome and a heart, and a lot of our other members go right behind me and welcome that person. So we're very grateful for that, and there's not many places that you join on Facebook that you get so much love right from Jump Street, and people that are happy to see you there and happy to share. But to go into a little bit more of my truth, everyone speaks of an awakening. And I like to think that I was awake most of my life, because I've always believed in the paranormal and been believed in ETs and UFOs and Bigfoot and everything nobody else believes in, has always just seemed like a certainty to me. I don't need a lot of proof. It's like a knowing sort of thing, I've had my whole life. And but everyone speaks of an awakening that they've had. And as I say, I've pretty much always been awake my whole life and not easily fooled. But the main thing that kicked my awake door open was when I was waiting tables in Miami. I worked at some pretty nice restaurants and waited on some famous people, that kind of caliber of restaurant. My two favorites, several famous people, but my two favorites I can mention one was Eric Clapton and one was Muhammad Ali. So that was pretty cool. Muhammad Ali told me I looked like his future ex-wife. It was very funny. And Eric Clapton said I was charming and lovely, so that was very cool too. But to get back to the point, a bunch of hotshot brokers used to come in the restaurant and ask me. They liked me. They liked my attitude. They liked my banter. They liked that I wasn't intimidated by them and their power and their money. And they pretty much headhunted me to become a broker. And after some discussion, I was a waitress off and on, along with many other jobs my whole life. But I was a waitress off and on for about 20 years. And let me tell you, that's a lost art form, Vinny, to anticipate what somebody needs before they even know they need it. And I think that's what those guys liked about me, that I was on the ball and I didn't pull any punches and I didn't let them intimidate me. But I did that off and on while waiting or trying to be a singer or an actress or what have you. And they finally convinced me to go along and be a broker with them. It opened my eyes up to a whole new world. They pretty much sold me on the pipe dream at first that, you're a lock, you're going to be a killer. And I was a lock. I was a killer. I raised $2.8 million my first 6 months out of the box. I had clients like Sherwood Schwartz, the writer of Gilligan's Island and Brady Bunch, as my client. But the problem was that I wouldn't lie. I would not sell their penny stock and flip a good stock that was making money into something that was selling for $3 that I knew was going to go down to 75 cents in a couple of weeks. And they didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to do that, and I refused to do that. So basically, one time when I was going to the ladies' room, they grabbed my client book and said, quote unquote, "You're too honest to be here. We love you. You're insane at raising money on the phone, and you're great at it, but you basically are too honest to be here. You won't do what we want you to do." I've been snared at and and I wasn't just any broker, Vinny. I had an investment banking license. It's a Series 7 and a Series 63. It's one of the third hardest tests the government issues. Just one part of that test was a 6-hour federal exam where I was videotaped the whole time I was taking it. My fingerprint was my identification. That's all I was allowed to bring in there was my fingerprint, paper, and pencil that they gave me. That's how it was. And that was quite a feat myself to prove to myself that I could do, since I just had a high school education. Believe it or not, you don't need to be a college graduate to be an investment banker or a broker. All you have to do is want to do it and not have a criminal record, and they'll let you do it. But one day I was working, and just to give you an example, and I was calling Hawaii late at night. When I was a new broker, I worked 12, 14-hour days all the time on the phone, calling people, pacing, just like the movies you see, Boiler Room or places like that. And I was the only one left, and my manager was in his office that was like a fishbowl kind of thing. And there's a man sitting in his office. I couldn't see who it was, but he paged me. He said, "Kathy, can you come in here when you're done?" I said, "Sure, I'll be in there when I get off the phone." I walked in that room. Who was sitting there in that chair with the envelope in his hand? Jeb Bush. No one was with him. I guess maybe they were outside of the office because they didn't want him to be privy to what he was doing. But I'm sorry, Jeb Bush would not come in there for any other reason other than to pick up a check or to drop off some money to manipulate somehow, And basically, I was only called in there as eye candy for him, and I read I read the whole scenario that was going on right when it was going on. It pretty much was offered on a silver platter to Jeb Bush, and I just looked at him and said, "Very nice to meet you. I have some clients to call. Have a great night," and totally blew him off and walked out the door, because I was like, "I'm not going on this trip with you boys. I don't think so," And just to give you another example, I don't know if you ever heard of Steve Madden Shoes. It's a company. I think it's called Shoe on the stock exchange, or I think it's on NASDAQ maybe. I think it's 4 symbols.
Is that what they do after they expand all your money into derivatives and then lose it? They just shoo away?
Go spend, I was not an asset to them, Vinny. I wouldn't sleep with them. I wouldn't go to strip clubs with them. I was, I've been called a lesbian in the boardroom, and anybody knows me knows I'm not a lesbian, because I wouldn't go out with these guys who had made $500,000 to $1 million or more a year.
Oh yay! This is what I need: a cocaine snorting egotistical sociopath on my arm.
Exactly. I was just like, I'm not going there with either of you guys. So I didn't play ball on their ball field, so they didn't want me on their ball field. Although they liked me and they respected me for what I did, they knew I wasn't. I could not be turned, if you will, because I had integrity and honesty, and I wasn't going to fall for it. And it really showed me, Vinny, after seeing that this Steve Madden has that company Shoe that's traded on the exchange, and his brother John Madden, and I'll say names because I don't care, was the owner of the investment banking firm, and subsequently, the guy who owned the shoe company, who was his brother that owned the firm, went to jail for securities fraud while his brother still played market maker for his stock and made him rich while he was in jail. So, I mean, you see so many things that go on. I've been in due diligence meetings because everybody knows when you have an initial public offering before it goes public, you have to have a due diligence meeting. And, you know, I'm sitting there with my list of questions, and it was like the mob. They were looking at me, little girl, shut your mouth. You're not allowed to ask questions. You know, so that just spoke volumes to me.
So they were like, don't you ever talk to me about my business.
Yes, just sit there. We have to go through this for the motions, but you're not allowed to ask questions. How dare you question these men? How dare you, little girl? You know, that kind of thing.
You're in the presence of a god, and you're opening your mouth.
Exactly. And it broke my heart because, you know, after I passed that test, I can't even tell you how hard it was, Vinny. I didn't know what a yield at a bank was when I walked in that firm. I mean, I'm a high school graduate. I was an art student. I was a theater person. You know, I'm not stupid, but I was not a mathematician or an economics major or anything. It took me a long time to pass that test and a lot of hard work. And it showed me one very good thing, two very good things, actually. It woke me up, and it showed me that I could have been a doctor if I wanted to be, because the test was that hard, you know? And it showed me that I can believe in myself a lot more than I ever thought was possible. The human mind and the human determination is a powerful thing. And you can do a lot of things if you truly want to bad enough. But that is the door that kicked open my awakeness, if you will, that, you know, things are not as what they seem. You know, the market is all a bunch of crap. They joke about it saying it's legalized gambling. I think the derivatives market needs to get thrown away. The options market needs to get thrown away. It's too easy for them to if they want to, just by playing games with manipulation. It's just wrong. And along with a laundry list of other things that need to go away, that I'll give you guys a chance to talk for a minute. That is what woke me up the rest of the way, becoming a broker. I was like, this is not Kansas anymore.
You saw it from the inside out.
Absolutely.
Behind the curtain.
I am. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I've always seen that activists and people who kind of get into this movement usually get into it for two reasons. Either one, they were raised in a way that tells them to act in an honest, ethical fashion and not back down when they're challenged and that kind of thing. So it's inevitable in a way that they'll reach these conclusions that we have. And the other side of it is you become very successful in the professional world in some capacity that is in fact dominated by the New World Order, and sooner or later you get basically really badly treated or shafted or in some way by them, and you spend the rest of your life trying to it's not vengeance, it's justice.
Yes, justice. I hate bullies. And if you do not play the way they want you to play in their ball field, you will not play. I don't care how good you are or how talented you are in anything. If you don't play by their rules, the Illuminati will kick you out of there, period. The end. And that is the one thing that broke my heart about it, because I worked very hard to try to, you know, change my life and to be financially free. You know, basically.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. It's funny though, you know, no matter how hard you try to be financially free and to change your life, the thing that occurs to you most often is that it can be taken away from you instantly by people whose speciality it is to control and destroy life. We'll be right back after the break at the Vinnie Eastwood Show.com. We're speaking with Katherine Buckalew and her co-host Rand Porter from Truth Connections. Back in a moment. And also, Rand, welcome to the program too.
Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
Yeah, same response. Somewhat fabulous.
Clean and clear, right?
Yeah. Well, I just got myself my new Facebook profile picture. You know the Obama picture during the 2008 election, how they had him done in the white and the red and the blue kind of shadowed type thing?
Sure.
And he had the little O with the little American flag on it kind of thing, you know, Obama. Well, I've got one of me and it says it's got Vinnie Eastwood there, right? And it says expose scumbaggery, and the little O is the same as the Obama O.
Honestly, a person who synchronistic life situations have brought me to where I am right now. Actually, just a kid who grew up in Arden, Delaware. It's a musician, artist, beatnik kind of community where the kids ran free and they were free to be who they were and didn't have to check in with their parents, and they still were safe. And that's what I think that we need to go back to now, because it was a cool way to grow up in the 70s. Actually, I grew up in the exact same house that Biden did when he was younger, Joe Biden, on Harvey Road. And I met him a few times. He actually...
Welcome.
Everyone but me.
Welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, the vaccinated and naturally raised indeed. You're listening to the Vinnie Eastwood Show, broadcasting live from the fabulously fluoridated capital of Auckland, New Zealand, the island-chained nation in the sunny slave South Pacific, fluoridated and Fukushima irradiated, and everybody has a part-time job as an incandescent light bulb on behalf of the Prime Minister John Key, the Federal Reserve Banker, to help the economy. My very special guest today, guests plural, Katherine Buckalew and her co-host Rand Porter. Katherine, welcome to the program.
Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Well, generally fabulous.
Of course you are. Mm-hmm. I love that song. That opening song is so you. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's a New Zealand band called Clap Clap Riot, and originally I thought it might have been about venereal diseases or something, but apparently not.
I can see where you think that.
Yeah. and I hope nobody else thinks what I'm thinking at this moment too, because this is a family show. I was thinking.
I can dig it.
Oh yeah.
I can dig it.
I'll send you the image. The whole idea is basically you got to make fun of the New World Order at every turn, and also more to the point, we're all part of the New World Order now, whether we like it or not. So it means we also have to make fun of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm here, Vinny. My girlfriend Liza thought that we'd have fun for a couple hours, bring some truth, and have some fun doing it.
Mm-hmm, indeed. Well, why don't you tell us then a little bit about, Katherine, you first, who you are and what it is you do.
Well, actually, I'm just a regular person with a passion for the truth,